Hey guys, welcome back to another work vlog doing medical coding. If you are new to my channel, my name is Shamira and I am an obstetrics and gynecology coder. So right now I am getting ready to start some outpatient surgeries and then we will get into deliveries. On my left screen, I will have basically all my patients that I have in my work queue. So you see that on the far left screen, it's a whole bunch and there's green. There's one that's green and it's highlighted. That is the patient that I'm working on right now, but I did have to send an in basket to one of my providers, which is basically a message letting them know that they forgot to add the documentation for the IUD removal they did. I think at the same time they did her sterilization for her tubes being removed. So I did have to hold that one. And then on my right screen, we have this system or software that's called Select Coder. Anybody can get it. It's basically a subscription that you pay for. And what I like to use it for is to check for bundling edits. So whenever you're trying to build two procedures or maybe two or more, you want to make sure that you can bill them and they're not bundled together. So for example, there might be a charge for two services in one, and then there's also a CPT for each thing that they did. Instead of billing for two, you only bill one. So that will be called bundling. All right, so my next surgery that I have is, well, we can go over this one really quickly. So for the sterilization piece, we will be looking at CPT code 58661. And depending on the payer, you may be able to bill this twice or only once. You may have to bill it with an RT or LT modifier. For the payer that I have right now, I'm going to bill this twice with modifier 50 on both lines, and my diagnosis code is going to be Z30.2. After that, I'm looking at a hysteroscopy and DNC for a patient with postmenopausal bleeding and endometrial thickening on an ultrasound. So these were figured out prior to her scheduled surgery. So they didn't actually do an ultrasound right now. This is just what was found on the ultrasound. That's the reason for the hysteroscopy and DNC. So our CPT code that we're going to be looking at for this is the 58558. And then our diagnosis codes, the pre-op diagnosis code was N95.0 and R93.89. But pathology confirmed that malignancy was found on the endometrial, sampling that they sent. So we're actually going to report C54.1 as my only diagnosis code. All right, so I have that one sent out. Now I'm looking at a missed abortion. So this patient was 8 weeks, and during one of her office visits, they found out that there was no fetal pulse, so there was no heartbeat on the baby. So we're going to have her get a suction and DNC. That CPT code is the 59830, and the ICD-10 code is 003.1. If you're wondering why I'm acting confused, it's because I'm doing this voiceover in the car and I do not have my books with me. So I'm pretty much going off of memory of these codes. And then I have video clips already of the book. So I have to add those in over top or underneath my voiceover. It's weird. It's editing. But yeah, I believe the missed abortion is 59830. And then the diagnosis for a missed abortion is the 002.1. Okay, I was wrong. It's 59820. Treatment of missed abortion completed surgically first trimester. And then my ICD-10 code is 002.1, missed abortion. My next surgery was a little bit tricky, so I'm actually holding it to review with my team. And this one was a hysteroscopy with DNC, and they also did a laparoscopic myomectomy with ablation. So I'm questioning if I can bill these twice. I mean, build 2 codes for both of these. So the 58558 and then 58674. We already seen the description for the 58558, which is here. Hysteroscopy surgical with sampling, biopsy of endometrium, and or polypectomy with or without DNC. So that is for the hysteroscopy and DNC. And then they also did the laparoscopy, which is over here, 58674, that reads laparoscopy surgical ablation of uterine fibroids, including intraoperative ultrasound guidance and monitoring radio frequency. So we did do all of that, but I want to make sure that we should be billing those together. And my diagnosis codes, I didn't get anything from pathology. I think I'm actually waiting for pathology to come back. So for right now, they did this surgery for an intramural fibroid, which was D25.1, and she also had abnormal uterine bleeding, which is the N93.9. So this one I'm holding, and then I guess I can come back in the comments and show you guys or tell you guys which one I went with. Like, did I use both or did I use one? So if you're interested in wondering, come back to the comments and I'll have it pinned at the top how I built for that. Our next procedure was for a dermoid cyst plus pelvic pain, and they're doing a laparoscopic cystectomy or oophorectomy. And it says here laparoscopy cystectomy, but they aspirated the cyst because of its size, and then they did the removal. So for this one, I was questioning if the aspiration of that cyst is inclusive or if it is billable separately, because the 49322 is for the aspiration of the cyst, but then the 58662 is for removal of any lesions in the pelvic area or on the ovaries and things like that. So actually, I think I'm gonna get my team's opinion for this one as well. So let me show you guys. That was the 49. Okay. So right here, smack dab in the middle, laparoscopy surgical with aspiration of a cavity or cyst, which I feel like she did that just to be able to, you know, remove it. So I think we'll probably lean towards only going with the 58662, which is back this way. Okay, so here you'll read it as laparoscopy surgical with fulguration or excision of lesions of the ovary, pelvic viscera, or peritoneal surface, and this was on the pelvic surface. So 58662, and there were no bundling edits for those 2 codes, so I will see what my team says about that. If I didn't say it already, the diagnosis for the dermoid cyst is D27.1, and the pelvic pain was R10.2. So that was that procedure. now we are moving on to one of my most favorite things to code, and that is deliveries. So I'm going to be going over some vaginal deliveries and cesarean deliveries that I had. On my left screen, I have my charges and the note. And then on my right screen, I just have a list of all my deliveries. My patients are in order alphabetically and by date of service. So as I do each delivery, I will mark them off and move on. All right, let's get into it. Okay, so for the first delivery, actually, it looks like we did one C-section and then about 4 or 5 vaginal deliveries. So let's knock out this C-section real quick. This patient is here for a repeat cesarean delivery. She had a previous low transverse cesarean scar, and that is the O34.211 code. They plan to do a bilateral salpingectomy for sterilization, which is the Z30.2 diagnosis code. She is 39 weeks and the baby was live born. So how I'm going to do these delivery codes, because every single delivery has to have the weeks of gestation, every single delivery has to have the code if there were live born or stillborn. And all my deliveries that I did were live born. So I'm only going to show that section of my ICD-10 book one time because it's just going to save me time and not have to keep going back to show you guys the weeks of gestation when you guys already know like what that code looks like. It's the same thing every time. It's Z3A point, and then if the patient's 38 weeks, you put 38. If they're 39 weeks, you put 39. If they're 40 weeks, you put 40. So I'm only going to show the weeks of gestation once, and then same for that live born code, the Z37.0. Since they all were live born, you only see that code once. But just know that I've added that information every single time. We're just not going to show it here for every single delivery. So how we build for this patient's C-section, we build it for the routine obstetrical care, including the antepartum care and the delivery and postpartum care. So this provider and their practice did all her prenatal visits, and they're going to do her 6-week or 8-week check after the baby's born, and that is what the postpartum care is. So we only build one code for that, and that is the 59510. And then for the removal of her fallopian tubes, that is going to be the 58611. So let's go back, and you guys will see right over here. Oops, it's a little bit fuzzy. Let me see if I can sharpen that up. Oh, come on. Can barely read it. Work. Okay, the 58611, and this is an add-on code, so you want to make sure you have your primary code when you're billing this. Don't just bill the 58611 by itself. You'll be billing for the ligation or transection of fallopian tubes when done at the time of a cesarean delivery or intra-abdominal surgery. This is not a separate procedure. List separately in addition to the code for primary procedure. So let's say, for example, the patient had a vaginal delivery. Okay, so if they plan to do a sterilization after a vaginal delivery, maybe like the next day after her on delivery, you will be looking at the 58605, and then you can probably put a modifier, I think it's like 58 maybe, for plan procedure during the global period, because once you bill that delivery, the patient technically is going to be in a global period. So they really wouldn't have any surgeries unless they were planned or an unexpected return to the OR. So those were those codes. And again, like I said, my diagnosis codes were the O34211, Z3839, and Z37.0 on this delivery. And then for the sterilization code, I did Z30.2. Here, I'm just checking the patient's coverage, making sure she had the same insurance throughout all her prenatal visits. Okay, so for my next 4 or 5 deliveries, they're all vaginal. So for this first one, we have a vaginal delivery with the baby had a category 2 heart tones. So that diagnosis is 076. Patient is 37 weeks and the baby was live born. We will not be billing global for this. So since we're not billing global, which is the 59400 code, we're billing delivery only per the payer. And we want to make sure that all her antepartum visits or prenatal visits were already billed out. So they were. And then I went ahead and billed the 59409 for that delivery only. And that one was that procedure. I think how this one is since we bill for delivery only, you can bill for the post-delivery days in the hospital. So like usually patients are in the hospital for 2 or 3 days after the delivery, but we're going to be doing this patient's 6-week check. So when she goes to her 6-week check, then we'll bill the 59430 code, which is actually right over here. 59430 postpartum care only. So for her post-delivery days, I submitted a no charge. My next delivery, we billed global, it looks like. Yes, so that included all her prenatal and postpartum care. And this patient, her water had broke prior to her getting to the hospital. So since she delivered within 24 hours, that code is going to be the 042.02. And then weeks of gestation was 39 weeks, and this was a live born. So that code is going to be the 59400 right here. I'm trying to get the, there. 59400 is the code that I went ahead and billed. Okay. So I have about 8 charges that I'm looking at right now. As you can see, my little green line here, that's each charge I keep adding. And these are all no charges. This is just how many times my midwife or the doctor went in to see the patient before delivery. So I had to make sure I put no charges for each of those. Because if you read in the beginning of the maternity section for the deliveries, it'll tell you that the admission prior to the delivery are included in the delivery. So you don't bill for the admission or any progress notes or subsequent days before the patient delivers, unless the patient was not admitted for induction. Like if she came in for something else, then yes, you can bill for that. But if she specifically came in to deliver that baby, you are not billing anything until the baby is delivered. Our next delivery was the same code, and that's the 59400. The diagnosis codes were for a fetal growth restriction, and she is 40 weeks and 3 days, so that would be post dates, and the baby was live born. So fetal growth restriction, that's 036.5930, and then post dates is 048.0, and weeks of gestation was D3840 and C37.0 for the live born. Again, I'm just making sure I put in these no charges for all the times the provider went in to see the patient. The reason why we do that is because there is this report that we run, and if there are any notes or signatures by a provider and there's no charge, whether it has a fee or not, if it's not listed or there's not a charge attached to it, then it's going to show up on that report. So these no charges that we put in basically satisfy that report. So then again, I have to go look at all the prenatal visits in the patient's account, make sure whether an E&M needed to be billed was billed, or if the category 3 or 2 code was submitted whenever we're billing global, so the 0502F code. This one was all good to go. I put in my delivery code, which I'm about to go over, and I'll move on to my next patient. And then my last delivery, we billed for vaginal delivery and included the postpartum care. So we did not include the prenatal visits, but they were already billed for. So that code is going to be the 59410. It'll read vaginal delivery only, including postpartum care. So 59410 is my CPT code, and then this delivery, there was a nuchal cord around the baby's neck. So that diagnosis is 069.81XO. She is 39 weeks and the baby was live born. So that is it. Okay, so I know you guys are probably thinking, what is this? Because it's definitely not my typical content. But I wanted to start sharing things that are fun to me. So I grew up playing The Sims. I'm a 90s baby, if you don't know. And I've played the original Sims, Sims 2. I played a little bit of Sims 3 in high school, and now here we are with Sims 4. Had I known you can make a living off playing video games, I don't know, things might have ended up different. There's just so much that you can do on YouTube and make a living by doing it. So you guys are going to get a sneak peek of the Reed family, and we may do a house tour. This house was built, I'm making it seem like it's real life, right? But this house was built by Silas YT on YouTube. And if you guys are interested in checking out her videos, I'll have her name on the screen somewhere so you guys know how to look her up. We did do some upgrades to this house and added on some additions, like some extra bedrooms and other rooms. So that's why I feel like I should do my own house tour. And then first we have for the family is Adrian Reed. He is a toddler. As you guys can see, it's on his iPad, like most toddlers these days, right? Then we have Savannah James. She is the mom. And it actually should be Savannah Reed, but I forgot to change her name. They got married after their second daughter was born, and it took them a while to get to the altar, but this is Savannah. We'll get into like her career and traits and all that in another video. I just wanted to show you guys, what my Sims look like. So again, this is Savannah, and my next person up is going to be her husband, Blair Reed. Together, they have 5 children. So you guys already seen what Adrian looks like, and he is their 4th child. So let's switch over to see Blair. Okay, so here he is, the man of the house. This is Blair. I tried to get a better picture of him, but the conversation that was going on while I was playing just kept that bubble above his head. So you guys can see what he looks like in the bottom left corner there where it says he's happy right now. That is Blair. He does have the bald top up top, but most men do once they are getting a little bit older. That's what I forgot to say. He is a young adult, and so is Savannah. So they both are young adults, and I do have the aging on. No, I have it off because I wanted to make sure I had enough time to get all their skills up and everything and have all these kids. So before they, die. So I am done talking about Blair, I believe. Again, this is Blair Reed. And the next up is Anastasia. She is their first child, and she is the one with the crop top sweatshirt with the two buns. So cute. I know. I don't know why, but all my kids, when they became teenagers, they were some thickums. So we have them, working out. The mother loves to cook, so that's why they might have been a little bit thick on the thicker side. But that is Anastasia. She is a teen again, and she's talking to her younger sister, who is our second child. And that is Brianna Reed. So as you can see, all the girls have Anna, similar to their mom's name. So we have Savannah, who's the mom. Then we have Anastasia. Then we have Brianna, which some people might say Brianna, but we say Brianna here in our household. So it's Brianna. And then after Brianna was Emerson. I wanted to have 3 girls so bad. I don't know how many times I've not saved the game right when she went into labor to the hospital and deleted the saved game so many times to try and get a different outcome of that delivery. And it was a boy 4 times in a row. So I said, you know what? We're having a boy, which Emerson is already at school. You can see him in the bottom left corner there. It switched to Emerson. So you guys will see him in another video. He already left, so you missed him. After Emerson, we thought we were going to have a girl, and her name would have been Adriana. But instead, we had a boy, so it was Adrian, and you guys seen him on the couch playing on the iPad. This one right here is our 5th child, not a girl. Again, we have Makai. So we have 2 girls and 3 boys when I wanted 3 girls and 2 boys. So that's just what happens, You try and you get what you get. So again, our kids are Anastasia, Brianna, Emerson, Adrian, and Makai. So that is it for meeting the Reed family. I hope you guys like the video. I hope you guys will be interested in seeing a little bit of my Sims 4 gameplay. Let me know down in the comments below if you're excited for this new content in addition to what I already do. So it's not like I'm completely switching over to gaming. I'm not. This is just an addition to make it more fun for me again. So again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next one.